What's up, nerds? Waffles here, and I just realized I don't really have a lot of Warhammer stuff on my channel, which is silly because this game was such a big part of my life for such a long time. It still really is. I like playing it. I don't get to play it as much as I'd like, though. So I kind of wanted just to do like a painting thing and kind of vlog it, talk about stuff in nerd news. I think could be fun. And if not, oh well, I'm doing something. That's really what this channel is about, kind of keep me sane. Yeah, I've been playing Warhammer for 15, 20 years now. 15. I think 15 sounds right. Ugh. A while for sure. But I started out on 40k, loved playing me some orcs. I loved how they were just silly. But even under all that silliness, they are still just a huge threat in the lore and on the game. If you are having good dice rolls on your orcs, you're probably winning. Even if you screw up your strategies. A couple good rolls on orcs, just a little bit of luck, and they always do good. Even when they weren't top armies. I don't think they're super top right now, but an orc having a good day could always sneak into getting some good victories. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So I'm just kind of doing the metals, doing the bases on these right now. I definitely do not paint like I'm supposed to, but if you want tips and tricks to how to do it easy and cheap, I am definitely your man. I was playing when I was on a budget, and I still had some pretty good looking armies. So, like these palettes and stuff like that, you get these palettes and 2 sets of brushes that'll last you a while from Walmart. $20 for all of it. They will go bad. You will have to throw them out. But like I said, that's after a while. You can do a lot of painting with these before they go bad. Like Citadel brushes, I don't like knocking them, but I have found they are more overpriced than what they need to be. It's because they are Warhammer's like sister company, whatever you want to call it. They have a vested interest, and their stuff's kind of expensive. It's good quality. But like a brush is $7-8, and I don't think it is good as well. I'd say it's as good as a brush that you can find at like a Michaels or something that costs $4, $3 or $4 for a single brush. So I'm saying not bad. Ooh, and a fun tip: my water pot right here. This is just the bottom of a water bottle, but it's got the bumps on the bottom, so when you are pushing your brush around on the bottom, you brush around those little bumps and it helps clear the paint out really good. And that, I drink water bottles all the time, so that's basically a freebie. And like same thing on the sides and stuff like that. If you want to scrape it on the sides, it actually cleans away the paint really good. And free, basically. Ugh. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's in a weird spot. I know I'm kind of jumping around here. These are just kind of my thoughts while I paint, which is kind of why I paint. Is we are finally about to get to a point to where we can have collectors back. New rarities coming out. Rarity Collection 5. And it looks like we're going to get serialized cards. Ooh. And I need to be thinning these paints, but I just put a bunch of medium in here, so it's already super thin. But yeah, we're getting serialized cards. So it's actually going to have some cards hold their value, which Yu-Gi-Oh has not had in a long time. Because unfortunately, we do have ban lists. It's good and bad. There's good and bad to ban lists, as opposed to rolling formats. It's easier, because even though there is rolling formats and like Magic and stuff, there are still ban lists. There are just cards that are just too good or being used in decks that they were not intended for, that are just breaking them. But now the reprints we will get, but the serials will still be on the newest cards. I messed up a little right there. So they're going to hold their value, at least for collectors and such like that. Like the QCRs was a good idea because now they're not going to do QCRs. So now QCRs are going to hold their value long term. I like that. I like that a lot. And I said it's a weird spot because we are in, it's actually a fairly good format. And there is upheaval, not really, that sounds way more dramatic than it is, in other card games at the moment. The two real big ones are Lorcana and One Piece. And now I talk a little slow when I'm painting. Like I said, upheaval is, they are starting to get figured out. It has now been played enough times and enough people to where the competitive is now starting to really take off, which is good for card games, and I'm not bagging on these games. I like games. I just love playing games. Haven't gotten a hold of play Lorcana yet, but I do play One Piece. And the big gripe is it's starting to kind of look like Yu-Gi-Oh! At least their formats. So you are having just a couple decks that are just kind of a bit more money, outshining and winning everything. And power creep is starting to come into those games, as they are now old enough and they are now printing cards to where, again, what Yu-Gi-Oh! Does is they have a hard time keeping cards that were not designed to do certain things from doing those certain things. Because when you print so many cards, power creep's just gonna happen, even if it's by accident. And I think that's starting what's happening in these card games. Because a lot of my friends that also play One Piece, they are saying it's basically like an old Yu-Gi-Oh! Format. There's these couple of decks, and as soon as they get to hit their combo pieces, because there is no interaction, really, that they just kind of take off and win in a couple turns. So there's a lot of these decks opting to go second because they get more Dawn off the bat. And the decks that do go first can't capitalize with how well these other decks are doing on Dawn. So it's these couple of decks that are just kind of running rampant and kicking everyone's butt. So it kind of takes the whole thing away. And like they're more skilled. I'll definitely say that too. Not more skilled than Yu-Gi-Oh, but these decks that are winning you got to have some skill. You got to know your combos and what you're doing with them. So it's making a big gap in between the casuals and the competitives, and that's why a lot of people hate Yu-Gi-Oh, is because there's not really a super casual market. Well, Genesis might solve that. But that's the big gripe, is Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a hard game to learn. Because if you go to a store or something like that, and you got your people that play it all the time, they're just going to win. So there's a big learning curve into getting new people to win, and if people aren't winning, they're generally not having fun. But now you have One Piece and Lorcana kind of going the same way. There's always going to be shops that just play non-competitively, You're going to find those places and those people. But I know there was people that left Yu-Gi-Oh! To play Lorcana and One Piece, mostly Lorcana. And now they are having the same problems with those games. The reason why they quit playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So, and again, this isn't like a slight at those games. I do want to learn how to play One Piece better, and we are a big Disney house, so I would definitely like to learn how to play Lorcana. But my focus is definitely Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's my focus, and I like it because it is one of the more complex games. And the last couple years, while there has definitely still been top decks and formats where it's basically the top 2 decks, and I kind of like those more and more because it is going to be the better player wins, and there are people still trying to do Rogue and are having good luck with Rogue. So it's complicated, but I think it's one of those games where if you are the better duelist, better card player, you are going to do better. And it's not Tenpai format. It's not Tenpai format where people are literally learning the deck on the way to a regional or a YCS and are doing good. Same with, the Fire King decks. There's that guy, he was on a couple podcasts, who literally learned the deck on the plane ride to a YCS over in England and ended up topping. I think he actually won the event, and he had not fully played the deck until that day. I think he might have played like a couple practice matches with his friends the day of, but yeah, learning on the fly and winning, I don't like that, especially because like everyone was saying there's all these new and up and coming players in these formats like Tenpai and stuff like that, which it happens, and we do like to see new players come in. Jesse Cotton and Triff can't stay at the top all the time, but it wasn't really significantly good players. Really, it was people that had the better draw, won the dice roll more times, and the decks were almost auto play to win. And now that's happening with other games, so Yu-Gi-Oh's not looking as bad, and I kind of like that. So I don't want to say the other games are bad, but they are making Yu-Gi-Oh look not as bad, and I do appreciate that. Oh, hopefully you can see us. Yeah, okay. I need to move my hands out. But yeah, I am definitely appreciative of other games getting bad so Yu-Gi-Oh can look good. And there's always a little bit of drama with Warhammer. I think Games Workshop is one of the best worst companies there is. I really like to akin them to Nintendo. They have some amazing products, but their business practices always leave me confused, and they always kind of make us seem like the bad guy. Which sucks, is because they do have such great products and IPs. Then you got like Pokemon trying to, what was their most recent thing? Trying to trademark riding Pokemon or riding animals and catching animals in a game. I was like, that's ridiculous. Can't trademark that. It's like half the JRPGs out there. They're as old, if not older, than Pokemon. But I do love me some Pokemon. I have not gotten the newest one yet, and I have had slight problems with Scarlet and Violet. It's just not my favorite. It's they had a really great idea and they kind of fumbled the bag on it. I think it's a lot like Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon was really big. I tried to make it more open world and adding levels and boundaries and stuff like that to make it seem more of like an actual open world, and they did a really good job with it, but they still made the game so linear that all that work they did into their world building didn't really amount for shit. Then there's Games Workshop that keep claiming they are a model company, not a game company, but then charging more for models that are good in the game, even though they are cheaper and use less plastic and are easier to produce than models that aren't as good in the game, mainly like the big characters and stuff like that. Because they're like, you buy yourself Librarian, and he's got some more detail, but he is less plastic than this set, and that guy is going to cost a significant amount more money. Now, it's their company. They can do whatever they want with it. I'm not saying they shouldn't do that because, yeah, you can get away with it and make money. But then they have models, new drop pods, that aren't even completed. The Rogaldorn tank doesn't even have a bottom to it. And then there's people out there that made some files online that you could purchase to print your own bottom to them. And they go after these guys, suing them for copyright infringement and trying to get all these people banned. But these were fans that had to buy the tank in the first place to even be able to even use that 3D printed piece for the bottom of their tank that GW didn't finish. But then they also say they're a model company, not a game company, but now they're producing models that aren't even complete. And getting mad if you try to complete them. I understand you want to protect your intellectual property, but I don't think people that are trying to improve on your game and their improvements still require you to buy into the game through GW. Going after those guys is really helping your company. Like I said, if they're printing their own models, yes, those guys are kind of scum. If they're taking straight up Space Marines and trying to replicate Space Marines and printing them and selling them, yeah, those guys suck. But if you have an incomplete product and people still have to buy your product and then complete it however they see fit, those guys are people you need on your side, not people that you want to sue. Because those are your investors. Those are the people that are buying the product. You don't want to piss off the people buying your product. And that's actually why we have World of Warcraft and not World of Warhammer. World of Warcraft was actually supposed to be a Warhammer game, but GW didn't like someone else being able to use their intellectual property without full control over little things. So Blizzard pulled out. Like, well, we got StarCraft and we got Warcraft. We'll just make our own game. And one of the most influential games ever, really. And GW didn't get it because they were stingy. Alrighty, that's about done. Oh yeah, I gotta do the belt on the knight. I'm doing black here. I found this black with a good gray as a brush over. It actually looks some pretty good leather, good black leather. I figure these knights and Bretonians in general would be concerned about having good leather products, especially for wartime. And especially these guys. I'm doing the Carcassonne. I don't know how to pronounce it. Some Old English. And these guys like to fight, and even their peasants, which normally get treated like poop in Bretonia. They are proud of where they live, and they love to fight too, protect and build. And that's why I went with this color scheme and this army. It's like these are the better of the kind of bad guys. I don't know, I'd say it's hard to say they're bad guys, but feudalists, they definitely have a class system. But hey, thanks for listening to me rant. Hopefully this looks good. I'm going to post it online even if it doesn't. And catch me in the next one.